Today is the same day as the last day in the last episode. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Unimog Shenanigans, where we are trying to go backwards now when we've done the front. Now you might have seen me make those things in the previous episode. Apologies for the rude interruption, but I thought I owe you an explanation. This isn't a regular episode, it seems. My initial thought was that I would bake this footage in with the proper episode, i.e. the one that now apparently is coming after this. However, with 20 minutes of footage and explanations, I thought that it would make the next episode extra super duper long. I know that 20 minutes in itself is way too much for the regular YouTube audience's attention span, but I know you're better than that, so I thought that for you this is a short episode. The next episode will probably be very long, or I will have to chop it up into smaller pieces. Therefore, I do not want to add an extra 20 minutes onto that. The reason why I'm showing you this footage is that I think it's quite important. It shows a part of the build that would be completely lacking. It would basically be a gap in the timeline of the build. However, I also understand that for many of you, you couldn't care less about this bit. Feel free to skip. My feelings will not be hurt. The thing that I want to show you in this is that although this is just a simple, basically two-dimensional piece, that making it and fitting it to the truck is a little bit more involved than just welding it on. Despite only being about 20 minutes, I hope you enjoyed the episode. And I don't know yet because I haven't edited that episode, so I don't know if I'm going to show you that yet or if it's going to be in this episode. Through the magic of internet and video editing, you didn't have to see all of the head scratching stuff. I put the standard original Unimog mud guards flaps thingies on, and this one is 50.7 degrees and this one is 54.4 degrees, and this one sticks up and this one not. So determined that the 54-ish degrees on the edge there is 56 on the edge is kind of where we should go. With that information also in mind, I was able to determine the distance between these two and a sort of a center point, and that in turn led to me cutting these ones. It took me quite a while to figure out the angles and the distances on these ones. Now I have spent some effort trying to clean these up. And as I have a TIG welder in here and I'm doing it on the table, I'm going to weld these with the TIG welder. That's condensed down to less than 2 minutes of what's taken me, what, about an hour and a half or something? The actual welding part of this isn't difficult at all, especially the first part, these little bump up pieces. They just need to be welded. As long as they are butted up to the large piece and clamped to the flat table, they're fine. I first tack them and then I fully weld them. The second, longer piece is a bit more involved, as it needs to be one box section higher up and very parallel with the first long piece. That's easy, just take a piece of the box section and clamp the piece that's to be welded on top of it. However, I also need to keep them straight, so another piece to guide them is needed. Clamp it all up, tack it and weld it. 3 pieces out of 6 done. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The fourth piece is a bit more involved yet. I'm using the Fireball tool magic square set to the specific angle and then clamping the 40x40 box section to that and the table. Then all I need to do is to weld the pieces together. I do one first and then I grind the welds flat to make sure I don't get any distortion from any protruding weld beads. I then clamp them together as tight as I can so that I do my best to make sure that the two parts are as similar as possible. Then I tack the second one, then I remove the first one so I can add some more tacks. Then I clamp the magic square back on the piece and fully weld both sides. I try to exercise a bit of patience to let it all cool down before I remove and reposition the squares. Then I fully weld the top and bottom. This yielded two very similar pieces. Yay! Regardless, we have those things. And the idea is that there's going to be a 40 by 40 millimeter perimeter around the box. Where the bump ups are is where the wheels go. That's sort of like the mudguard wheel well kind of thing. The longer stick goes on that side because there's no door there and goes straight ahead. This one goes up to the bar up there and then it goes backwards. The problem that I need to solve now is that they need to continue a little bit straight and then at a 45-degree angle from the rear wheel so that we maintain the departure angle. And then we need to make and weld those, and then we need to figure out more stuff. So I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm sure something will happen and it'll be hopefully a little bit entertaining. I think I have it figured out. I've clamped this bar on top of here and it is very straight. It's elevated with these 50mm blocks so that it can make itself go over this piece here. Then I clamped the so far built side pieces on, and I've tried to place them as accurately as possible. Then I have used my beloved bevel box thingy to zero it up on top of this one. I've checked that this is 0 degrees, this is 0 degrees. I've checked the degrees on this one. Then I have clamped this one onto here, making sure that it is 0 degrees. And then I've clamped this one onto here, making sure that it is 45-ish degrees. See, and I just realized that now maybe I haven't done a very good job, so maybe I need to check that one again. And again and again, anyway. And with these in place and this one here in place, this one is measured now from the front to the back at 3,660 millimeters. So that is the back of the skeleton. We haven't included the cladding in the thickness and the length of the box. So that is where the skeleton is going to finish. I have then, like I said, made sure that this one is 45 degrees, and then I have measured the height there, and that way I think I now have enough information to manufacture this bar and this bar, and hopefully if I do it on the same time, at the same time, put one on top of the other, then maybe, just maybe, I'll have them the same, and that means that if they are placed in the same location, forward to aft, and with the same spacing, then this should be fairly accurate when it is actually put together. So now I just started doubting myself, so now I'm going to do it all over again. And this is why I don't film this very much, because frankly this is just me bobbing around with various blocks, squares, clamps, measuring tools, scribes and so forth. It's not very exciting, but it needs to be done, and the more accuracy I can exert now, the better the end result will be, hopefully. Anyway, as I left you on a beautiful day yesterday, I was talking about how we needed to figure out how the bottom of the rear behind the wheels will continue and then up into the 45 degree, and the calculations that we figured out were these, and that resulted in me cutting two of these and two of these, and now I have spent a stupid amount of time trying to clamp this as accurately as I can. I don't have very many clamps, so I've had to resort to using what I have. So please send clamps, I'm running low. Anyway, the key points here is that These two bars are just here to hold things in place, and they start here, and because that one there is one unit above that one, and that one is attached there, so those should now be parallel. They're clamped here, and then in here is this sort of a mayhem of firewall tool squares. So this one here is just trying to raise it, and these two minion squares are really handy because you can slide them and the two faces are parallel, and you can adjust the height of them if you clamp them together in this sort of fashion. And right here is this weird square, which conveniently has got a 45 on it, but also another place to clamp to the other one. So this face here should be very square, very straight, and this one should be 45 degrees, which means that this weld here and this weld here are now in place to be tacked. Obviously I'll need to remove some clamps once I have the first tacks down and so forth, but to start off with, that's where I'm gonna bzz. So yeah, stupid amount of clamps, stupid amount of time. Hopefully it'll be accurate, at least until I blast some heat into it. So we have sticky out bits and we have two sides, and when we fitted them, and I knew this was going to happen because I have trial fitted them before, is that I put them here and the back does not match up with this part, which is okay because now I have made these parts that will go into there. That way they will meet up with this sticky out bit here. Initially I thought I'd just do that bit, which goes straight down, but then I thought it is probably a good idea to triangulate it anyway, and that way we can be sure that any forward backwards forces are also taken into account. Now, without further rambling, I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to get the hot metal glue gun out, and I'm going to tack these in, and when this one is done I'm going to put the other one on top of it so that I get them in the exactly same position. These triangulation thingies are now in place. I have also cut two pieces of metal that are the correct length from side to side. So the width of those plus the width of the 40x40s should be the width of the truck. I then remember that we didn't cut these to the correct length. We cut the other side, so I need to quickly get the cutting disc and cut these to length. I also remember that this front corner is not mitered, and that goes for both that part, the front part and the side part. Another day in paradise. From yesterday's work I now have a bunch of sticks here, and they need to go on the truck right over there, as you know. In my simple head this should be a simple operation because everything should be straight and flat and all of those things, and we should have less than 1 millimeter discrepancies and really high precision. But that's not how the real world works. This truck isn't really super straight. You see, in my head these ones would be absolutely straight. They not only would they be level, but they would also be absolutely straight. And I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but they're not super straight. What this leaves me with is this sort of situation where I am trying to figure out what is correct, what is square, what is level, when there is nothing that is square or level or flat. I have spent a stupid amount of time just positioning things and wondering whether the position is correct, and then changing my mind and then repositioning things and then measuring with a thing that doesn't maybe measure the right thing and so forth. The bottom line is that I think I put the side bars on 3 times yesterday, and every time I think I got the precision better, but every time I also spent probably an hour to 2 trying to fit the things onto here. So today I'm going to start my day by frustrating myself by putting them on here again. Hopefully this is the last time, because these ones should now be cut to the correct length. This one is mitered. Without further waffling, I am going to try to put things on the truck, and hopefully I'll get them right, and then I can tack weld them, and I can double check and triple check and do all of that, and by the end of the day all of these will be fully welded, and I can potentially award myself with a cold snack. We'll see.
Many hours later.
Yeah. We have just been around the truck with Kaz to make sure that things are as they should be. We have measured, remeasured, measured, remeasured, measured, re-remeasured, measured the measurements, and then we have redone the measurements, and we have redone those 3 times. The end result is that I think these ones are now parallel within a few millimeters front to back, and they are level with the bed, and they are basically as good as it's going to get with this with the material and the resources that we have. So now I am going to tack weld things and then gradually start removing one thing from another thing. I'll just show you a few things. So basically we have this bar here that is cut to exact-ish width. We have this bar down here that is also cut to exact-ish width. And then we have this one here that is also exact-ish width. And then we have this one right here that is exact-ish width too. So all those exact-ish widths align up and things are okay. Then this one is the front to back bar that is destined to live at the top of the roof, on one of the roof corners. And then we have a similar there, which is butted up to the front, which is then butted up to the rear here. And the same thing on this side here. So that means that they should be aligned that way. And then on top of that, we have walked around with the bevel gauge and we have reset it, and we've checked the angles. We've checked that all of these are 0 compared to the big ones that are on the top there. So again, they should be parallel with the height. They should be parallel in the length of the truck, and the angles are correct, and all sort of things like that. So I think this is as good as it's going to get. and before things change or I change my mind, I better start welding. It's now been a few days since we put these on, and since we put them on, we also put some rust converter on it, so they are now this nice color of black. I put this bar on here too, and a little bit of tape, you know, to cushion the blow, or maybe just so that I can see it when I walk into it. But right now we have two sticky out bits here with a recessed bit here and a raised bit here, you know, for fashion, looks cool or something, or just because I have a disorder of some sort, who knows, but it's there, and it matches up there. On this side it looks pretty much the same, except that we have this bit here, which you probably have seen. So I think that's where we're gonna call this enough for this episode. And as you can see, I need a haircut, and that definitely means that the episode needs to end. Now, I'm not going to say what the next episode is going to be about, but I hope you join us, because it's going to be a good one. How would I know that? I don't even know what I'm doing tonight. Anyway, hope to see you. Thanks for watching.